What's going on, y'all? This is Josh and Mike, and we are here with another episode of The Shoe Show. We are not talking about rain boots as we need it out in Daytona. No, we are talking about the one and only Corey LaJoie, the shoe of NASCAR, and just anything NASCAR related. We're here live at Daytona. Well, live when we're recording it, but it's a couple weeks ago now that you guys are watching it. And Mike, what's going on, man?
And just living the dream. Like, take a look at this view, everybody. I don't know what the camera looks like over the shoulders here, but this has been a nice slice of paradise for a couple of days. Spent some time with my family and, my dad and stepmom, and of course got to see some exciting NASCAR action. So it's, life is good.
Yeah, man. Your voice sounds a little hoarse. What's up with that?
Well, come to find out, so we had this guy named Corey LaJoie show up, and he took this car to the front, right? So I'm throwing my voice out, cheering. I'm just trying to do anything I can to send good vibes his way to, add a couple extra horsepower to that number 7 car. And then, unfortunately, later on in the day, when we got swept up in the deal where it kind of hurt the toe link on the car, I further threw my voice out from probably screaming some obscenities in the grandstand. I was a little upset.
You didn't get thrown out this time, though, right?
Well, not this time, thank goodness. But.
All right. Well, Daytona has been a lot of fun. I got thankfully was gifted the opportunity to come hang out at the pit stops in the pit area. I got to hang out in the box a little bit with Ryan Sparks, and man, it was super cool. I got to see all the intricacies of the race team. I got to see, with the pit stops, I got to see the pit crew. I got to see them pull off the tires, and then, I don't know what it's called, where they judge they do the air pressure and they kind of evaluate the tire. I got to talk to a lot of people that have already been on the shoe show, and I of course hung out with Leanne a little bit. And, man, it was just a bucket list weekend that I'll never forget. I hate that Corey, I hate that he wrecked, and but, it was just such an experience, that I just, not leaving unhappy, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I feel like he showed a lot of power, and, we were a little questionable if the conservative role, if they were going to try to go up there and kill it or not, but they went up there and they led some laps, and they showed that we weren't here to play, that we're here to play, and that we're they weren't here just to kind of sit back and relax. So made me feel good, and it was cool to just see everybody. I met Roy, the engineer, and it was cool to talk to everybody and see all their different roles, and man, it makes me even more proud to be a member of Team Super Shoe. And it's just, a lot of times, we follow a team that's a little hard to follow when it comes to, we could be watching Chase Elliott or somebody else where it's real easy, where they're going to be up there every weekend, and it was humbling to get to see how hard they work every weekend just to get that little bit of an extra edge. And they do that every weekend. It's not just Daytona, not just because of drafting, but I just felt honored that they invited me and that I got to see it. Man, it was pretty cool. So what about you, man?
Well, I mean, first of all, it definitely sounds like your end of the race this weekend was definitely one for the record books. I just want to congratulate you on being able to experience that. Shout out to quite possibly one of the best PR personnel in the garage, being Miss Leanne Egoff. On my behalf, thank you for doing what you did for me and my fiance last fall at Talladega and giving us the opportunities there with a garage pass, and furthermore now with reciprocating the same thing to my buddy Josh here. It's really cool that now both of us can sit back and kind of reflect on what it's like to see the inner workings in the garage, and kind of to Josh's point, to see what Spire does week in and week out, not just at Daytona or Talladega or some of these other tracks, with a limited staff, comparatively speaking, every weekend, these guys get all the same tasks done, where somebody at Hendrick, they might have 5 or 6 different guys just to, hey, go refuel those cans, down at Sunoco or whatever. So it's just, it's super cool that you were able to see that, man. I'm pumped up for you. But as far as my experience, from my view from the grandstands, we sat right at the second tier level on the second row. And so we had a good view of the entire track. And I've got to tell you, I was excited when they dropped the green flag. Corey kind of hung around, up at just about his starting spot. I think we rolled off the grid maybe P31 today.
Yeah.
And so he kind of hung out there for the first maybe 4 to 6 laps. And then all of a sudden it was like somebody hooked him up with like a 300 wet shot of nitrous. And this guy just goes to the front. And it was exciting to see this guy time the runs and time the blocks and be able to mirror drive and still look out the front of the car and determine which line is going to move or prevail the easiest, if you will. So it was exciting to have something to cheer for. We had 5 or 6 of us in our group that are all obviously diehard Corey LaJoie fans, so it was cool to hear a lot of noise, come from our group and really have something to be excited and encouraged about. Because to your point earlier, man, this is, unfortunately, Spire and Corey, they're not a team that is probably easily appealing to your average NASCAR fan. Somebody like Chase Elliott or somebody like that, they're kind of a lock to be in contention for a top 10 every week, whereas maybe Corey and Spire are not. So when you consider that we usually run or finish around one area, when you get the opportunity and the treat to be able to watch the 7 car run up front and stay in the top 5, and like I said, time the runs and do all these things, it's encouraging, man. And it just makes for an overall much more fun experience at the racetrack, right? It's always more fun when you go to the race and your driver does good, or, they win the race, or maybe they avoid all the crashes and the carnage and all this. So for the first 2 stages, and then I guess a piece into the third there, we had a lot to cheer for. Definitely a little disappointed to see that an apparent right rear toe link was the end to an otherwise potentially good run for Spire in the 7 car. But at the end of the day, he was once again able to gather some TV time, which is obviously good for sponsors and the team themselves, and obviously his own name and likeness. So it was just it was encouraging that we had a lot to be thrilled about, man. It was good to make some noise and just it's a good weekend.
Yeah, we ran it. Quincy got to hang out with you guys, and also Bobby Cansdale. I ran into him several times in the infield. Of course, that guy is always. I think he works for NASCAR secretly.
I'm telling you, this guy, like 1 out of every 4 races, it seems like he's there. Like, Bobby, whatever the secret is, man, can you just let us in? We're trying to make more than 2 races a year.
Yeah.
So you're obviously living the dream, man. We're trying to get on your level.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I appreciate the weekend so much. It was just such an incredible, it was a bucket list weekend, and I got to sit on top of the pit box and everything else, and I got to talk to a lot of people that are involved in Corey LaJoie's success. But moving on from that, Mike, I wanted to kind of ask you, we just saw Austin Dillon win his race at Daytona, and I wanted to know what your favorite either Daytona or Super Speedway moment is.
So I guess maybe it's 2 of them. The first one is, if we're talking about Daytona, it's the 97 Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon won the race. His teammate Terry Labonte and Ricky Craven finished 2nd and 3rd, so it was a sweep for Rick Hendrick Motorsports. At the time, it was a big deal because Rick Hendrick was in the hospital a lot and was fighting leukemia at the time. And so that win probably meant a lot to that organization. It obviously was carrying a lot of waves throughout the press and whatnot, and with the fans. Everybody understood the significance of it. And so being a Jeff Gordon fan, it's cool to see your driver win the Daytona 500, right? Yeah. It's the granddaddy of them all. But thinking back, the Daytona 500, I would have been seven years old at that time. That is the first race that I can remember explicitly. So many different things that happened through the race, and just it's all still candid into my mind all these years later. So that's definitely my favorite Daytona moment. But if we talked about the other big super speedway, Talladega, It's got to be the 1997. I believe it was the Die Hard 500 is what it was called at the time. My dad had already known that I had a big interest in NASCAR racing, and he himself as well. We were both Jeff Gordon fans. I can remember him coming home from work one evening, and so, either way, I guess it would have been a Saturday. My dad comes to me. He's like, hey, do you want to go somewhere, do this or that, whatever? Well, I remember asking him, I was like, well, where are we going? And about that time, he throws me this Jeff Gordon shirt, and it just clicked all in that moment. Like I'm going to, my first NASCAR race. And so my dad, I didn't know it at the time. He did not have any tickets to this race, man. We literally drove 4.5 hours up the road on a blind whim, hoping that we could find a ticket scalper, somebody on the side of the road, do you need tickets, or I've got tickets or whatever. And so at the time, the tickets that we had, they were face value $50. My dad paid $100 a piece, man. Double face value just to get us in the show. So that was definitely my favorite moment. Jeff Gordon didn't win, but he did crash out right in front of us. He blew a right rear tire and took out like 26 cars all at once. So that was pretty cool, but that's mine for sure. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, well, as far as my one of my favorite memories that's not driver influenced of a favorite driver was the 2007 August race. It's probably the Pepsi 400 back with Jamie McMurray beating Kyle Busch back when Kyle Busch drove the number 5 car, and Jamie Mack won by a fairly slim margin, and that was just that. I don't know if that was the closest finish I've ever seen, but in my mind it is.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of Daytona races, and it's just something that I just thought was really cool. And I don't like Jamie Mack. I don't like Kyle Busch either. So, but it was a spectacle to see. I did see in 06 when my old driver Jimmy, he won the Daytona 500. I actually was there, and the race was horrible. The race was I don't know if you could tell if you ever rewatch it, but it was misting the whole time, and me and my mom were there, and this is back when there was a backstretch grandstand, and we were miserable, and we were like ready to go. So we took a tram, went to the front stretch. My mom said, "Hey, I think Jimmy's leading, or he's second or whatever. Let's see if he wins." All right. And I grew up being a 43 fan. Now, granted, I'm born in '86, so Richard Petty retired when I was only 5 or 6 years old. So I followed the 43 car since then, and John Andretti at that time was the driver of the 43 car. And when he left, I became a Jimmy Johnson fan, and so I just wasn't used to following a driver that had a chance. You know what I'm saying? So when she said, "Oh, Jimmy might win," I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." Well, Jimmy ended up winning, and it was pretty damn cool. And I have a few other moments, but that Jamie Mack moment was pretty cool. I love seeing that close finish. I love seeing that literally last second pass.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we didn't have that this year. But
no, you're lucky though. It sounds like you've got to see your favorite driver at the time, win on multiple different occasions. I was a Jeff Gordon fan for so many years. Probably went to 30 different NASCAR races. Never seen him win. Best I ever seen him do was like second at Fontana in 2009. So you're lucky. And so today, Corey LaJoie being my favorite driver, I thought we had something for him, man. And me and my dad have been talking for weeks leading up to this. He's like, I don't know what it is. I feel it in my gut. Like he's gonna win his first career race. And so he ends up looking over at me probably 40 or 50 laps into the race. He's going, dude, wouldn't that be something if what I said came true? I really felt that way. And so once again, came so close today maybe of seeing our guy be able to get his first checker flag, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. Well, so we have the next 4 races coming up. We obviously are recording this ahead of time, but this is September 7th. And we got Kansas, Bristol, Texas, and Talladega coming up. Mike, what's the race you're looking forward to the most for our boy Corey LaJoie?
No, it ain't Texas. That's for sure. That guy has said countless times, and I'll quote him here, they need to take a bulldozer again to turn 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I agree with him, and I think probably a lot of other NASCAR fans do. So I'm not really looking forward to that race. The Bristol night race is still special just because at some point, even though it wasn't listed as an official crown jewel race back in the day, it was still the Mecca. Like, there used to be a time where it was, 5 or 6 year waiting list to be able to get tickets for that place. And, now it's a little bit of a different story. But overall, I think probably Talladega is what I'm looking forward to again. It's such a shake-up in the overall points battle and the different playoff scenarios. I mean, it literally is. It's like these super speedways, especially in a playoff format, it's almost like going in and playing Russian roulette. You know what I mean? You got a little bit of chance of coming out and maybe the result being good, but there's a much larger potential of getting caught up in that carnage and the big one and the things that usually happen there. So
yeah.
Overall, I definitely think I'm probably looking forward to Talladega the most. See what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, Corey just got done testing at a few weeks ago at Martinsville. And now, granted, they were testing the possibility of like rain tires or, sprinkle tires at Martinsville. Either way, though, I'm excited about the fact that we had the opportunity to test at any track. And so that makes me excited for Bristol. Bristol is one of Corey's favorite racetracks. And I am hoping that he takes some of the things that he learned at Martinsville with the new tire and with this new car. We don't get a whole lot of practice, so and a whole lot of sim time. So just excited that Corey got that time, and hopefully we can squeeze off a top 20 or top 15 Bristol coming up.
I'm definitely hoping that pays dividends. I was looking at the stat sheets, and I'm pretty sure on both day 1 and 2, it was a 2-day test there. This guy turned like 267 laps plus each day. So if you figure that a Martinsville race is typically 500 laps, that guy basically got one full race worth of experience without the pressure of being in competition. So I definitely hope that it pays, some dividends for this team for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, obviously, this is a little bit of a different show. We're obviously together in real life. We're not hanging out in Zoom meetings or anything like that. So we got next up the member of the month, Mike's father, Jerry Bostic, and we're super excited to hear his story and how he became a race fan and just get to know him a little bit. And then after that, I want you guys to stay tuned. We're going to have a Daytona documentary, Daytona Doc, I guess, version 2, and it's going to be where our whole weekend we got to hang out with Rutledge Wood out at what was
Streamline.
Yeah. The little place called Streamline Hotel where NASCAR was kind of formed. Everybody got together and signed their documents and back in what was that, 1948?
That's correct.
1948 they got together and they formed NASCAR and it became the name that we know today. And then we got to hang out with our buddy Quincy. Saturday you're going to see a lot of me getting to hang out with Corey LaJoie out in the pits. And then Sunday you're going to get to see a lot of race highlights. So I'm just excited for that. Yeah, man.
For sure.
So next up, we're going to bring on Jerry Bostic. So y'all stay tuned.
All right, everybody. So we're back with the guy in my life that I consider the man, the myth, the legend, my dad, Jerry Bostic. How you doing, man? It's good to have you here.
I'm doing good, and it's good to be here. I appreciate you and Josh taking time to spend with me this weekend, and it's been a really good time here in Daytona. Enjoyed all of it, except for the 7-8 hours we spent in the rain last night to not get a race in. But
That's right.
yeah, it's been a blast.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, standing in the rain yesterday, it wasn't all for nothing. You got to meet Corey LaJoie and crew chief Ryan Sparks. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, well, I'll kind of go on a tangent here. My whole NASCAR life has been revolved around Jeff Gordon. I picked him up as my favorite driver his rookie year, and followed him through his whole career, and I've just struggled since he's retired of finding another driver. And of course, my son here, being the big Corey LaJoie fan he is, has been telling me a lot about him, and I've just kind of latched on to him. And hell of a guy. And Mike bought me a piece of sheet metal not too long ago off the Charlotte car, and I was able to take it to the track this weekend, and Corey and Sparks autographed it. Corey had to think for a minute when he was signing it, and then remembered what car it came off of, so he put Charlotte 22. So that was a really good deal.
Glad you got to experience, man. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be able to do these kind of things and meet some really cool people that are, you know, within the sport of NASCAR, and it's been nothing shy of a privilege to be able to share some of that with you this weekend. And so definitely a lot of good memories made.
Yep,
for sure.
It's been a really good time. I enjoyed every minute of it. Go shoe. I mean, got some good pictures of him here at the track, and you know, of course, my wife got to go to Daytona. It's the first time either one of us have been to Daytona. I've been to a lot of races, but first one here, and it was hot.
Yeah, it was.
It was blistering hot. Probably the hottest race I've ever been to.
It was well worth it, though. We got to see that 7-car run up front, lead some laps, and contend for a while, and that was something to cheer about. It was cool to have my dad in the grandstands with me, making some noise for 7 and Spire and all those guys. So what a thrill it absolutely was. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, maybe in particular the hometown that you have in Indiana and the NASCAR significance that holds.
Yeah, so from Rushville, Indiana. A lot of you guys may have heard of that little town. It's about, I'd say, 10 or 12,000 people. Pretty small. Don't have a Walmart, but that's where Tony Stewart grew up and cut his teeth in racing and got his start. So, you know, we're kind of known for Tony Stewart. His original hometown is Columbus, Indiana, but he did call Rushville home for a while. It was pretty cool.
So you had I guess Paul would have been your brother-in-law at the time. He ran 3/4 midgets on a local series all around Indiana. And obviously, Rushville having a dirt track there in town. You know, at the time, I guess you and your brother John were his pit crew.
Yep.
And these guys, this was long enough ago that they were racing against Tony Stewart before Tony Stewart was known to anybody. So it's pretty cool to know that at some point, you know, you were back there and, you know, seeing a future big name of NASCAR cut his teeth and do his thing. So it's definitely pretty exciting. You guys may have known Tony Stewart as the Rushville Rocket, or, you know, with his birthplace, he was called the Columbus Comet. So that's pretty cool. Rushville is a cool little town. Not a whole lot that goes on there, but it's definitely rich with a lot of racing history, obviously, and it's basketball country as well, for sure. So you can't go anywhere on a Friday night without seeing a sold-out high school gymnasium full of crazy fans just cheering on their kids. But that's what basketball is all about in the state of Indiana.
Yep.
You know, so pretty sure the slogan there is "We grow basketball here." So that's pretty cool. So I got to tell you guys, man, you know, my dad, I look at him like my best friend. You know what I mean? He's somebody I look up to, call him all the time. You know, I got this going on in life, or, you know, I'm not sure what to do here, or, you know, whatever. But he's also the person that he's always the first one I pick my phone up and tell him the good news, or, you know, just whatever's going on in my life. So it is such a thrill to be able to have you sit here and be a part of our podcast. And I got to tell you, thanks too. It makes my heart smile every time I see you like something on Team Super Shoe or comment back and you're engaging. And so it's pretty cool, man. We got a couple of Bostics running around in Team Super Shoe, and
That's right.
Glad you guys could finally meet the other Bostic equation of TSS. So I got to ask, when are we going to get together for another race?
You know, I wouldn't mind coming back for the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty awesome.
Well, we're gonna have to spend a little more money on the tickets versus what we did today. The Daytona 500 is a little more expensive, but yeah, I mean, if you want to buy them, I mean, I'll show up and go with you if that's what you want to do.
We might be able to squeeze in Atlanta or something.
That's
something
right.
Closer to home.
I'll tell you what, Atlanta, that's a hell of an exciting race now ever since with the reprofile, reconfiguration, and kind of being a mini super speedway. It's like seeing what you do at Daytona and Talladega, but on a much smaller scale. So it would definitely be exciting. So I want to add to that. I have been fortunate enough to make it to several races so far on the 2022 calendar, and every single race that I've been to, Corey has ran so good. Granted, stuff may have happened at some point that, it took him out, or, he got a finish that didn't reflect the overall potential, ability or the outcome for the day. I've been telling, you and Josh and several other people, it's almost like I feel like the Bostic family is a good luck charm for Corey LaJoie when we show up there. So I really felt like maybe having, 2 Bostics there, well, 3 when we count your wife. I figured that was going to be enough to push us to victory lane, but $12 tow link.
You had your son there too, so it was.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So a couple of generations of Bostics were at the racetrack today and making some noise for that 7. So just been a lot of cool memories, guys. I got to tell you, any chance that you get to go and make time with your mom and dad, do it. You gotta make it all worth it. Like my dad here, he lives about 794 miles from where I do. I'm lucky if I see this man one time a year for 3 to 4 hours. So to be able to have him come down here, spend 3 or 4 days with me and my family, got to meet my daughter, Charlotte. You guys have heard about her a lot. Josh usually asks, on the intro of the shoe show, hey Mike, how you doing? How's Charlotte? And I'm always talking about, well, she's just growing like a weed. And she still is, but it was cool for my dad to be able to meet her, and it's just it's been awesome, man. I feel like I've spent the equivalency of 3 or 4 years worth of time all within the last couple of days.
It's been good.
Got my dad on the shoe show, man. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you and Josh for having me. It's been a blast.
For sure. I appreciate you coming on, hanging out.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you being a number 7 fan. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Corey LaJoie and all of Spire is happy to see another guy with a fresh number 7 hat on. I took the time, bought a fresh number 7 hat. My boy Joshua over here did the same thing. So we're making some noise for Corey LaJoie, old Super Shoe. And I just want to tell you all, cheers. Thanks for tuning in and supporting this effort that we put together for Corey LaJoie's efforts on and off the track. Thanks to all of you who follow Team Super Shoe, and shout out once again to old Joshua. That none of this exists without that guy, and I'm just proud that they brought me on board and we're making some noise.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. I appreciate you, Dad. Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Until next time.
Absolutely.
All right, bud.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to Daytona. We started off our weekend right, went to Streamline Hotel. We always really wanted to go see this place.
Welcome, everybody. So we're sitting here at the birthplace of NASCAR at the Streamline Hotel located here in Daytona Beach Shores, Florida. In 1948, Bill France and several other founding members of NASCAR, they sat right here in just about this exact location and laid out the basic formats and the rules and the sanctioning body for NASCAR. So we just wanted to be able to share with you for a moment what it's like to be here at the place where our favorite sport started, the sport that has brought so much joy to our lives and has maybe forged different friendships and everything else, brought so many people close together for the same common cause. It's really cool to be able to sit here on a piece of history, y'all. 1948. Even though this sign says 70 years, actually it was 73 years ago now, or 74 rather, that this sport was created. So what an amazing opportunity to be able to sit here and just have a drink and kind of pay homage to where the sport all started. Josh, you got anything you want to add to that, sir? What's it like to be standing here at the birthplace of NASCAR?
It's pretty cool, man. It's good to get together with good friends and family, and we actually spoke about maybe coming back in February, and they said that Junior gets this whole place booked up. The whole Dale Jr. books all of the rooms up, and I'm sure we can't even get up here on the bar. So just pretty cool to see even the professionals of NASCAR to come back and show their appreciation for the history, and so this is pretty cool.
It's definitely fantastic. So I don't know if you can tell, but over my shoulder here, all those bright lights, that's actually the Daytona International Speedway. So from where we're sitting at right now, that's probably about 4.5 miles away from here. And directly behind us is the entrance to the world's most famous beach. And that's actually where NASCAR had their first race at, was right here on the sands of Daytona, before Bill France and several other people got together to build this 2.5 mile behemoth with 33 degrees of banking or whatever it is. So it's quite a sight to see, and such a privilege to be here, where obviously Daytona, the Daytona 500 is the Super Bowl of NASCAR, right? So even though we're not here on Super Bowl weekend, if you will, it's a privilege just to be here and see the granddaddy of them all right here sitting over our shoulder, and to be sitting in the place where NASCAR was all put together. It's just pretty special. It's a place that I've always wanted to be able to visit, and I'm pretty fortunate. I'm sitting here with my good buddy Josh. My dad's on the camera back here, so it's cool to be able to witness this with him. And shout out to Mr. Quincy here as well, member of Team Super Shoe. He's hanging out with us, so I can't thank you all enough. Everybody that tunes into this page week after week, regardless of whatever result may come for Corey LaJoie and Spire Motorsports. It's just, it's cool to be able to do this for you guys, to be able to show you different parts of the sport that maybe you don't see on NBC or Fox or whatever. It has been me and Josh's goal here from the inception of this whole podcast and page, was to show a side of NASCAR that maybe not everybody else gets to see. So you guys stay tuned. We'll show you a few outside shots of the hotel here, and whatever else we decide to film in the coming days. So stay tuned.
Of course, before we ended the night, we had to go check out, I can't remember what this is called. Is it Gravitron? They didn't puke. Welcome to the next day. It was supposed to be race day. Unfortunately, weather put a damper on our party. Had a great tailgate party with a buddy Quincy and Mike and his dad Jerry. It was cool to be together with so many shoe fans. Of course, as soon as I show up to go into the garage and use my VIP pass, it starts to storm like crazy. I was there for about 3 hours before I finally was able to walk around a little bit. Finally got to the holler. Saw our buddy Corey there, the guy he's talking to with the black hat. That is the owner of Built Bar, one of the nicest guys I talked to all weekend, Nick Greer. It was so cool to be behind the wall, in the garage, getting to see all of these professionals work. Been a fan for so long, and this is really a dream come true to get to see all these guys work on the car, and man, what a blessing. Saw towels, saw some other people that we know. Ran into, there's Corey being the man of the people, of course. Ran into, of course, TJ Bell. Ran into Leanne, of course. Ryan Sparks. Got to tour the holler here.
So those are the snacks of the champions?
That's
Is that
it.
how it works?
That's it.
So, this is like 37 weekends out of the year. This is kind of our office, right? This is Josh. He's our interior specialist. He works on everything inside the car. So anything that's driver comfort related, steering, brake pedals, like electric stuff, all of that is what he does.
Cool.
Nice.
And the round roller things.
And the tires.
The contact patch
those
between
things.
him and the racetrack.
This is Roy. He's our engineer.
Hello.
All right.
I'm an engineer as well, but civil engineer, not mechanical.
So this is going to be a quick rundown version of the roller tour because I gotta get out there with the sponsors. But this is the interior cabinet. So this is where we keep. This is kind of Josh's cabinet. It's a little bit of a wreck, but it's an organized, chaotic mess. But this is what Corey drinks inside of his water bottle, and this is where we keep all the stuff to make his water bottles, like the hoses that we get from Lowe's and steering wheels and things. Hats. Would you guys like a hat? Do you have one of these?
I have one.
You do?
Oh, I don't have that one.
Well, then you can have
There you
this
go.
one.
Cool. Thank you.
And I just have to keep track of driver intros and then back here is just more of like a garage sort of setup. It's like where they do the shocks and all the nuts and bolts and things.
We know those shock things.
Needs for all the various sponsors that are here and my radio and all the good stuff. Corey's suits are right behind you, Josh. If you want to open that, you can show them where the suits are.
So you got engineers that are all during the race.
It's crew chief in the middle, engineers on the end. So it's crew chief, engineer, crew chief, engineer.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a crew chief on a much smaller level. So
So this is kind of where we hang out.
Wow.
You guys probably didn't get any
It's
yellow
awesome.
cards because we didn't put them out because it was raining.
Here we are back in the garage again. It's really cool to run into people that I've already met on the shoe show. I also ran into Greg, the owner of Off Access Paints that we just had on. Man, he's such a cool guy. Unfortunately, the race got rained out that Saturday night. It was a long, soaking wet day. So I was kind of happy to come back to the track nice and dry and ready to watch a race, and at 10 a.m. nonetheless. Throughout the garage, I also met longtime Team Super Shoe member Bobby Cansdale. It was cool to run into him. He seems to go to 15 races a year. I don't know what his secret is, but he always has these hookups, man. It was pretty cool to see him, and he ended up walking away from the track with a Chase Elliott pit banner, or the sign that goes above his window. So it was pretty cool to get to see him, meet his wife. What an honor it was to be able to walk down this pit road and see all the tires and the personnel, man. So cool. And there's Austin Cindric. He was real close to winning today. Behind the driver intros here, getting to see everybody walk in and kind of hang out and mingle. It's quite interesting. See who was social and who wasn't, and who was on the stage and who stood off. And I've always wondered what it's like being a NASCAR driver and the drama that us fans don't know. Who likes who and who's friends with who. That's Corey there, sitting off on the right side. He was social. Don't think he's not a social butterfly. He is. I think he's just trying to get in the zone a little bit.
Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from Hope City Church in Arturo.
That was Roy Gandol. He is the engineer. And, man, what a cool dude. Roy was great. He had a long conversation with me. He invited me up there into the pit box, and we chatted for, I don't know, a good half hour before the race started. So much so that I was kind of like, man, I'm missing all these people walking by, but it was so cool to talk to him. Roy, he had a real honest conversation with me about horsepower, about budgets, about a lot of the stuff that, about Spire that normally he wouldn't talk to people. It's usually a confidential stuff, and he helped me kind of rekindle my spirits for the team. As a fan, it's kind of hard to see how Spire's been hurting all year, and as a fan, he helped me realize how much I don't know, and these guys are real close to being top contenders. They have the same horsepower as Team Hendrick or Joe Gibbs. It's all about where they put their money and the training, and that this team is a young team, including Corey LaJoie. These guys have a lot to learn, and there's only one way up, and that's forward. And he worked with drivers. I think Corey's his fourth. He worked with drivers Juan Pablo Montoya, Matt DiBenedetto, and he's used a lot of the knowledge that he's learned over the 20-year career that he's had to help mold Corey and help him understand and be humble and to not jump the gun. He believes Corey is exactly where Corey should be. Spire Motorsports. What a sensation to be right there on pit road and see them take off like that. It was something else to be right there. And I know I've thanked Spire and Leanne 1,000 times, but it's another thank you for you guys. Kyle Larson there on the screen. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but he was there. I could have literally walked around that fence and got right up to that car, but I was committed to my guys in the 7 crew. It was really cool to see all the pit crew guys, and I would love to have these guys on because I'm really curious as to what all this means, all the little markings and tapes and things like that on the tires. I did ask the gas man how much a full tank of gas weighs because I saw he needed help to lift it up. And he said about 95 pounds. These guys on pit road, man, they hustle. These guys they're either ex-football players or these guys are athletes. And, man, I wish NASCAR highlighted them more. There's so much to the sport that NASCAR does not cover unless you really dive into things like this, like the shoe show. Checking the tire pressures. These are used tires from the last stage, I would imagine. It's interesting to see that tires have about, I think it read 4 or 5 different tire pressures in one tire from the center to the outer rim. Some spare parts. Carl's doing his thing. That guy hustles, man. Leanne says probably the hardest working guy on the crew. It's Corey leading, or he was in the bottom of that. He was leading the bottom there. I was invited to watch above Ryan Sparks here and Roy and what they do, and man, this is the coolest. Literally sitting in the pit box, man. I never thought I'd have this opportunity. This right here was my favorite moment of the whole weekend. You know, I not just a Corey LaJoie fan, I'm a big fan of everybody involved in the team. And having the headset on and hearing Sparks talk in real time right here, he was guiding Corey down into the bottom lane so that he's telling him right there, get down to the bottom lane, that he needs to pit the next time by because everybody else is coming in on a green. And so cool to see it happen in real time. The screens are kind of blacked out. They had some type of screen protectors on them, but you know, they had it almost looked like the old school race view on one of them. All sorts of data, a couple of TV screens from the live broadcast. Just the intensity right here. Everybody's getting ready, gearing up. Sparks gets on the box here, gets ready to call him in and call him out. You can tell how much passion all these guys have. Man, what a cool feeling. And the audio of your TV screen or your computer or your phone cannot capture how loud this car was, man. This was the pit stop after, unfortunately, got collected in somebody else's mess. They hit us and the right rear toe link, maybe some other parts got broken, the right rear wheel, and now they're assessing whether or not it's worth continuing to drive or not. What a bummer, man. Corey was killing it. Led a bunch of laps, and he, as Ryan set up on the box, it said when he was in the lead, tell him, make sure they know we're here to play. And that was pretty cool, man. Unfortunately, Corey had to wheel it to the garage. You can see the damage there. Not damages worse enough that it's not safe for him to be driving around at 200 miles an hour. So he wheeled it to the back. He was in the garage here, never got out of his car. I think they went 23 laps down before he finally got back out on the track. And then when he got on the track, then it started raining. And rained for hours. Unfortunately, the weekend was pretty, it was cursed with rain. I mean, it was dodging rain all weekend, and it was pretty miserable for everybody involved. Still an amazing time, amazing opportunity. I can't believe I got to see all this stuff and talk to all the people that I spoke to. There's Logano there. There's Ryan Blaney. I never did bother a lot of these drivers. I was there for my man Corey, and I know all these guys are here to work. I felt a little awkward, you know, but this is the end of the video. I thank you guys for watching. Until next time, God bless.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for watching, I guess, Doc Daytona 2. I guess that's what we would call it. We got to talk a lot about racing, and I shared a lot of my story with you guys over the weekend, man.
Again, just to parallel what you said, thank you all so much. Like, it doesn't matter how cool me and Josh think this is to put it all together. If we don't have people tuning in and hitting the like button and comment and sharing, none of this is worth anything. So shout out to each and every one of you that follow this. Maybe if you guys even just take 20 minutes out of your day on the 7th at 7 and you tune in to see what we're talking about, I appreciate y'all. If anybody was kind enough to stick through that whole member of the month segment with my old geezer dad, shout out to you too. I'm glad that we've got some much better looks sitting in the chair, not as much gray hair, and he's not a Yankee either. So I mean, like, man, this is way better. Let's not invite that guy back, like ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
you know, we had to get out of the way.
That's
so.
right. Well, you know.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Like Mike said, if you haven't subscribed or liked or commented, mainly subscribe. So we're trying to get to 100 subscribers so we can be an official Team Super Shoe, or youtube.com/Team Super Shoe. Otherwise, we appreciate you guys. Man, this is our way to de-stress and to just think about other things that don't stress us out. You know, not life, not the person we're married to, not anything else. It's about being just talking about racing, focusing on nothing less. And other than that, I just appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And man, it's been cool.